So we now have the final UFC Fight Night of 2021, and the main event's a heavyweight banger, man. Derek Lewis coming off that title shot where he did lose a serial gun, but he's coming back and he's taking on the up-and-comer, the undefeated UFC fighter. He's 4-0 in the promotion. It will be Chris Daukaus. Incredible main event in the co-main event. Stephen Wonderboy Thompson returns against Bilal. Remember the name Muhammad. Incredible 14-fight card to close out the year in the Apex. And folks, if you haven't yet, make sure that subscribe button down below for some more UFC here on the channel. Before we get into this week's predictions, going to talk about last week, UFC 269. What a night. I mean, incredible. I think we started 7-3 if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, we were 7-3 to start the card. Looking pretty good. We rolled on the Garbrandt fight. He gets knocked out. Okay, it's fine. Ponzinibbio fight. He loses. I thought Jeff Neal probably won that fight anyway. But okay, Ponzinibbio loses. Amanda Nunes, Juliana Pena. Bro, I don't give a damn I picked Amanda Nunes. I haven't been that excited watching a fight, like cheering for someone to win a fight in a while. I was so excited. I was screaming at the top of my lungs for Juliana Pena winning that fight. Absolutely incredible. I don't give a damn I picked against her. I don't think anyone picked her except for Chael P. Sonnen. That's why Sonnen's undisputed and undefeated, but I don't give a damn. Congrats to Juliana Pena, that's awesome. And Dustin Poirier loses to Charles Oliveira. That one stings, man. That one stings. You thought Poirier had in the first round, but in the third round, second and third round, Oliveira gets to take down the second, finishes him in the third, takes his back. Tremendous finish for Charles Oliveira. Oliveira and Gaethje is going to be a banger. So that was UFC 269. We went 7-7. Could have been better, but could have been a lot worse too. Trying something new also in the prediction videos now. Last week I posted a poll on the YouTube community page, so if you haven't seen that, go check it out. But on the YouTube community page, I posted a poll on who do you think's gonna win the co-and main events for last week in UFC 269. Did you think that Juliana Pena was gonna win? Did you think Amanda Nunes was gonna win? Did you think Oliveira or Poirier? Well, only 4% of you that voted picked the right combination, which was Oliveira and Pena. I mean, it was 19% Oliveira Nunes, 4% Oliveira Pena, 74% Poirier and Nunes, and then 2% Poirier and Pena. Those 4% though, congratulations to you. I just posted another one. I'm recording this late on Sunday night. I posted another poll just a couple hours ago. Only a couple votes, right? Only about 40 votes. But currently, 8% of you think that Lewis and Wonderboy are gonna win. 63% overwhelmingly for the Black Beast and Bilal Muhammad at 63%. Then you got 23%. You got Wonderboy and Daukaus, and the remaining percent you've got for Muhammad and Chris Daukaus. So make sure to go vote in that community tab poll. We'll see your results and who gets it right after the fight night is over. So that does it for all of our pre-fight stuff, I guess. Let's now get into the predictions. First fight of the night will be Matt Sayles and Jourdain Leavitt. Yeah, we haven't seen Matt Sayles in a while. Matt Sayles' last fight is where he got twisted by Bryce Mitchell. I believe this was in DC? It was the card. Oh yeah, it's over in Rosenstrike. Twister finish for Bryce Mitchell in the first round. It was Sayles' third fight in the UFC. Before that, he lost to Shane Moraes by unanimous decision. Before that, he beat Kyle Nelson by arm triangle. He's taking on the Monkey King. Yes, it is Jourdain Leavitt. Leavitt is back after his loss to Claudio Puelles, but I mean, Puelles in his last fight was very good in his own right. But Leavitt loses that one. It's a boring fight. It's kind of a ground fight, but Leavitt doesn't get the better end of that one. His first fight in the UFC was a fight where he landed like one strike, but he got the big slam knockout finish over Matt Wiman. It was only a 22-second fight. Leavitt picks him up, he takes him, he carries him over to his side or his corner side of the octagon, slams him down, and Matt Wiman is just knocked out when he lets him go. So it was a good finish for Jourdain Leavitt. It's his first ever and only TKO finish so far in his career. And now he's coming to this fight here with Matt Sayles. And Matt Sayles is a guy who he can strike and he can really grapple too. You look at that one win, of course, in the UFC so far. It is by arm triangle choke against Kyle Nelson. But that was a fight where Sayles really dominating him on the feet. Nelson was looking for a couple takedowns in that one. He ended up getting it. Eventually, Sayles though reversed positioning, got on top, went in for the arm triangle choke, and got it in the third round on that Iaquinta and Cowboy card. Back in May of 2019. But Sayles in this fight against Jourdain Leavitt though, obviously going to try to keep this fight standing. You look at his first time in the UFC, it is against Shane Moraes. It's a striking battle. It's a close fight, but they gave it to Moraes on the scorecards. Even though if you look at the numbers on that fight, Matt Sayles very competitive with Shane Moraes. In the Bryce Mitchell fight though, couldn't really get any of his offense going. Mitchell lands a takedown very early in the round, keeps him on the ground, and then Bryce Mitchell of course goes for the twister, sets it up perfectly, and gets the twister against Matt Sayles. So really, it's a classic grappler versus striker matchup here with Sayles and Leavitt. Want to bring something up though here with Matt Sayles. And by the way, Matt Sayles still hasn't landed a takedown in the UFC over 3 fights. If you include the Contender Series 2, 4 fights for Jourdain Leavitt. He has only landed, I believe, it's only been 3 takedowns so far in the UFC, but again in 2 fights. It was against 2 against Puelles and then 1 against Matt Wiman, which was the big slam finish. Just something to note about Matt Sayles. Saw an interview where he said that he got up to 250 pounds during his time off. I don't know if he was serious because he was kind of laughing when he said that. Like, I don't know if he was over-exaggerating how much weight he did gain. But if he really gained that much weight, that's kind of crazy. He got up to 250. He was fighting, of course, at 145 before he took all this time off. Now he's back down. Now he's back down at 155 to take on Leavitt. So just something to take into account for this fight, that maybe he was up to 250, maybe he wasn't. Again, I get the point. Sayles did gain a lot of weight during his time off, but nonetheless, though, I'm taking Jourdain Leavitt. I'm taking the Monkey King to win this one. Sayles, I really haven't been too impressed by so far in the UFC. The Bryce Mitchell fight couldn't stuff a takedown, given it was only one. The Nelson fight, yes, Kyle Nelson wasn't able to get the win in that one, but Kyle Nelson was able to land a couple takedowns on Matt Sayles in that one. Again, it was the reversal by Sayles in the third round that's what did it for him. But he's not going to do that against Jourdain Leavitt, a guy who comes in there just looking to grapple with you. That's all Jourdain Leavitt does. He's a pure grappler, and I think Jourdain Leavitt's going to beat Matt Sayles in this fight. Do I think he'll get a stoppage? I think there's a chance. I think he'll be close, but I'm just going to go with the safe pick. I'll say Jourdain Leavitt out-controls Matt Sayles throughout this entire fight. I'm going to go with the Monkey King to beat Matt Sayles by decision. Now we've got two unranked heavyweights. It's Don'Tale Mayes and Josh Parisian. Most likely you're getting a striking fight in this one. Parisian and Mayes both known for their striking, I guess. Mayes is 6'6", Parisian is 6'4", so two big dudes stepping in the octagon here. Mayes and Parisian both two heavyweights who are really at the higher end of the heavyweight weight limit. Mayes, I believe, weighed in at 260 his last fight. Parisian's one of these guys who weighs in at about 265, so two really big heavyweights going to be in there in the octagon this Saturday night. For Josh Parisian, coming off of that win against Roque Martinez, beating him by split decision in a fight. Parisian really uses boxing really well in that one, landed a takedown on Roque Martinez, even though he tried 7 of them. He only got 1 of them, but still had 4 minutes to control in that one. Same can be said about Roque Martinez. He had 4 minutes of control in that fight as well. And for Don'Tale Mayes, his last fight is a win over Roque Martinez. It's on the Felder dos Anjos card in November of 2020. By the way, Parisian's fight with Roque Martinez was in the summer. It was in the Jung and Ige, the Chiasson Jung and Dan Ige card. So that was more recently, but Don'Tale Mayes' last fight, it's the win over Roque Martinez by unanimous decision. Uses his wrestling really well in that one, getting his 1 takedown. But no, it was the boxing that did it for Don'Tale Mayes. It's a closer fight than you would expect. Two judges had 30-27, the other one had 29-28 for, of course, Don'Tale Mayes winning that fight by unanimous decision. And it was a much needed win for Don'Tale Mayes because he's coming off those 3 fights in the Contender Series. He loses the first one, he wins the next 2, gets the contract, and they're like, all right, you can go fight Ciryl Gane. I mean, what do you expect? Ciryl Gane, that was the fight in Singapore in the Maya Askren card. Yeah, Bongame gets the takedown, and then eventually with like 14 seconds left in the fight, gets a heel hook. Don'Tale Mayes got a tap. So Mayes' second fight, they book him against a heavyweight who I believe he's on suspension now, and Nascimento. A guy Nascimento, not the best striker, but he's a really good grappler for being a heavyweight. He goes in there, lands a takedown, subs Don'Tale Mayes in the second round. So now you've got Mayes and Josh Parisian, 2 guys coming off a win over Roque Martinez. Before that for Parisian, though, he had the 2 wins in the Contender. He fought in the Ultimate Fighter as well, and then he had the loss to Parker Porter. It's a stand-up war. Parker Porter lands 126 significant strikes in that fight, lands 2 takedowns as well, and Parker Porter picks up the win over Josh Parisian, both of those guys' debuts in the UFC. So for Parisian, he has fought twice since Mayes last fought in the promotion. You're going to see a boxing fight between Mayes and Parisian. It's just a matter of who's the better boxer is. Who is a better boxer in this one? I don't know. I mean, Parisian's got the power. Don'Tale Mayes has got the volume, I would say. But it's just 2 low-level heavyweights. It's a toss-up. If you're being honest, you're looking at Mayes at a -195. You're looking at Parisian at a +165. Mayes is 8-4. Parisian is 14-4. Ever so slightly, we're going Don'Tale Mayes. I'm not that confident at all. Parisian's got a chin on him. I'll tell you that. Definitely for sure. So I don't think Mayes is going to be able to get a finish, but I'll say Don'Tale Mayes beats him by decision. Not confident though at all. Now to the weight class where they are all chasing the GOAT. Of course, I'm talking about Juliana Pena. We're back at 135 here for Rocky Raquel Pennington, the former title challenger, and Macy Chiasson. And this is a division now where this might not apply specifically to Macy Chiasson, but like a fighter in Raquel Pennington who's already lost to Amanda Nunes. If Nunes is no longer the champion, say Juliana Pena either wins the rematch against Amanda Nunes, and spoiler alert, if they fight, I'm probably picking Juliana Pena to win the rematch. Or 2, if Amanda Nunes stays at 145 permanently, it changes everything about this division. Because really, maybe Juliana Pena is that fighter. Maybe she is. Maybe Juliana Pena is going to be the one that's really going to take over this weight class and be the champion for a very long time. And as much as you like the story of Juliana Pena winning the championship against Amanda Nunes, dethroning the GOAT, Is she really going to be the champion for a long time? Maybe she will, but you could get some scenario like the light heavyweight division before John Jones won the championship, where you're getting this title passed around, and there's a very good chance that if you pick up like 3 wins in this division, you're fighting for the championship next. So who knows what happens with this championship? I'm assuming we will get Nunes and Pena too. If we don't, who honestly knows? Irene Aldana might get a title shot. I'm thinking it'll probably be Holly Holm, but still, so many fights that can be made in this division. It's exciting now with Juliana Pena as champion, and I'm really, honestly though, very happy that Pena's the champion. But back to this fight with Pennington and Macy Chiasson. Macy Chiasson was booked against Aspinall like 3 times. The fight never happened. Now she gets Raquel Pennington. Raquel Pennington, a fighter again who has fought for the title before. She's on a 2-fight winning streak after losing to Holly Holm. She beat Penny Kianzad by unanimous decision on the Span and Smith card, and before that, she just dominated Mary Renault in June of 2020 in the Blades Volkov card. she had that fight against Holly Holm where, in that fight, nothing happened. Holly Holm clinched her. I mean, it was like the first fight, honestly. Holly Holm using her strengths in the clinch, pushing Raquel Pennington back against the fence, and just working on her from there. Holly Holm ended up winning the fight. Don't watch it, you'll fall asleep. And I'm recording this late at night, so I didn't even look at the fight again, because I wouldn't be recording this video if I rewatched that fight. But Raquel Pennington's fight before the Holly Holm fight, it's a winner of Irene Aldana. I know I just mentioned, hey, Irene Aldana might be getting a title shot next if Amanda Nunes does not come back. So again, this division is wide open, but if Raquel Pennington can win this fight, it'll be against Macy Chiasson, a fighter who's only got 1 loss in her pro career. Again, with the way 135 is now, assuming Amanda Nunes maybe goes up to 145, maybe he fights Kayla Harrison next, who knows? Man, I mean, there's a serious chance that you can get one of these fighters fighting for the belt next. But what does Raquel Pennington do very well? She mixes in her dirty boxing, and that's really all she does. Dirty boxing, dirty boxing, dirty boxing. Raquel Pennington's there to get in your face. She wants to make it a fight, and that's what she's going to have to do here against Macy Chiasson. Because Macy Chiasson will bring it to you on the feet as well. Look at the Mary Renault fight. I think I said it earlier, and I've seen other people online say it too. That's a closer fight against a 44-year-old Mary Renault that you want coming out of Macy Chiasson. You're thinking, okay, Macy Chiasson's going to come there, she's going to dominate Mary Renault. It wasn't exactly the case. Now, she wins it by unanimous decision, but you're just thinking it's going to be a little bit more than that. So she wins. Before that, she beats Shanna Young. She loses to Lena Landsberg before that. I believe that was the card in Copenhagen, I think. And then before that, she beats Sarah Morris, beats Gina Mazzani, and beats Penny Kianzad to win the Ultimate Fighter. You're going to see a striking affair here between Raquel Pennington and Macy Chiasson. It's just a matter of, can Raquel Pennington make it a dirty fight? Can she get in Chiasson's face? Can she close the distance and use her boxing to her advantage? Or can Chiasson really, keep distance, technically outstrike Raquel Pennington in this one? You look at the odds here. You got Pennington at 180, you got minus 180, and you got Chiasson at plus 155. Pennington 9-5 in the UFC. Chiasson is 5-1. Another one of these fights, man. It's a very close fight to predict. Ever so slightly, though, I'm going Raquel Pennington. I just wasn't impressed with the Chiasson fight against Mary Renault. It's a fight where, again, you're thinking Chiasson's going to go in there, make a statement, make an impact, and potentially finish Mary Renault. She doesn't, and instead, it's a decision win. A win's a win, I get it. But in this scenario, man, and in this fight, ever so slightly, I'm going with Rocky Raquel Pennington to beat Macy Chiasson. I think she gets it done by decision. So I believe I picked Charles Jourdain in every single fight he's been in the UFC except for the Korean Superboy fight. But other than that, I've been pretty big on Charles Jourdain. The problem is he just lost to Julian Erosa in a fight where it's a competitive fight. He gets taken down the third round, and Juicy J locks in the Darce choke and puts away Charles Jourdain. He's taking on Andre Ewell. Now, Andre Ewell, he starts off his UFC career with a win over a former UFC champion. Who are you thinking? Oh, it's Renan Barão. Still, he beats him by split decision. He wins the fight. That's huge. After that, he loses to Nathaniel Wood. He just gets dominated on the ground by Nathaniel Wood in that one. Nathaniel Wood winning that one by rear naked choke. After that, Andre Ewell goes in to Greenville, South Carolina. He beats Anderson dos Santos by unanimous decision. Loses to Chito Vera after that. Beats Jonathan Martinez by split decision in a fight where he did not win, but still, they gave him the scorecards because Texas. And then after that, Ewell beats Erwin Rivera. He loses to Chris Gutierrez after that, where he gets taken down, I believe, once in that fight, but it really was the scrappiness out of Gutierrez that won him the fight. He landed that one takedown. I think it was in the third, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it was in the third round, but still, Gutierrez outstruck him in that fight. And then most recently, Ewell just did lose to Julio Arce. Arce finishing him in the second round. So Jourdain's coming off that two-fight losing streak right now. For Jourdain, again, losing to Julian Erosa. He comes in the UFC, he loses to Desmond Green, he beats Doo Ho Choi, he loses to Feely, he's got that split draw against Joshua Kalibau, he KOs Marcelo Rojo, and then now you got the fight with Erosa. I think Andre Ewell's probably going to try to take Jourdain down in this one, just because Ewell hasn't had too much success striking as of late. Again, he gets knocked down in the RSA fight. He's got Chris Gutierrez who outstrikes him. He outstrikes Erwin Rivera, but let's be real, Erwin Rivera when he was in the UFC wasn't the greatest UFC fighter. He barely beats Martinez on the feet. I don't know. I just think you might see some of Ewell's wrestling in this one, even though we haven't seen his wrestling since the Barao fight, and he didn't really go to that often too. I don't know, I'm just thinking, where does you have the best advantage to win this one? It's probably on the ground, because Charles Jourdain is going to force you to fight him on the feet. I mean, I don't want to really compare him to Raquel Pennington, because they're not the same fighter at all, but just because I was talking about Raquel Pennington. But Jourdain's going to get in your face, he's going to force the action, and he is going to go in there, and he is going to throw bombs at your face. It is going to be a crazy fight whenever you fight Charles Jourdain, and you will better be prepared for that, because that's what Jourdain's going to bring. Now, when Jourdain, though, rushes at his opponents, blitzes his opponents, it does sometimes open himself up for some takedowns, like you saw in the Julian Erosa fight, and you saw in the Andre Fili fight as well in June of 2020, and the Desmond Green fight too. That's been the problem for Charles Jourdain so far in the UFC. So if you're Andre Ewell and you're looking at this fight, that's how you exploit the game of Ewell, and that's how you, of Jourdain, and that's how you beat Charles Jourdain. Do I think that's going to happen though? I don't think it's going to. I think Jourdain's going to keep this fight at distance. I think he's going to piece up Andre Ewell when Ewell's coming inside, and I just think this is going to be all Charles Jourdain in this one. I told you at the beginning of the prediction video, I picked Jourdain a lot. We're picking him to win again. Charles Jourdain has never seen a decision in his career in a fight that he's won, 3 fights that he's lost, in the 1 fight that he had a draw with. Of course, he went to decision, but when he wins, it's not by decision. It won't be by decision this time. Charles Jourdain is going to finish Andre Ewell. He's going to knock him out in the 2nd round. All right, it's Sijara Eubanks and Melissa Gatto. They're giving Gatto Eubanks in her 2nd fight in the promotion after she beat Victoria Leonardo. Now, it was a fight against Leonardo where, surprisingly, Melissa Gatto's striking actually wasn't that bad. I think we were coming in that fight thinking, all right, well, Melissa Gatto can't really strike to save her life. I mean, just her fights in the independents or in the regional promotions weren't the greatest. I mean, I know she had the win over Carajosa, but she hadn't fought in 3 years, and we just didn't really know what to expect because her striking wasn't the greatest. Well, her striking looked okay in the Leonardo fight. Now, given, is Victoria Leonardo the best UFC fighter? No, I believe she's still on the roster, given they gave her 2 tough fights to start her career in the promotion. They gave her Firo and Gatto, but still, is Leonardo the best? No, but Gatto looked good in that fight. She needed to, when she needed to strike, she did well. On the ground, she did okay as well, even though Leonardo had 2 minutes of control in that one. Gatto had a minute. I believe Gatto was working Gatto was working well for back in that fight. But the fight ends as a doctor stoppage, Conor McGregor's favorite stoppage in the book, because Leonardo goes back to her corner, injured her arm. I think she broke her arm. She tried to keep fighting. The doctor said no mas, and that was the end of that fight. Melissa Gatto wins. It was her first fight in over 3 years, and she wins, of course. The fight before that for her was Carajosa back in 2018. Now, Sijara Eubanks, though, it's been a weird run for Sijara Eubanks. It definitely has, because she's been scheduled to fight so many fighters, including a world championship opportunity against Nico Montano, a fight that she probably would have won, but just in the last year. 2020 starts for her. She's supposed to fight Sarah Morris. That fight gets canceled due to the pandemic. That's okay, right? She comes in, she actually beats her. In Jacksonville, she beats her by unanimous decision. After that, she beats Julia Avila. But oh, by the way, before that, she was booked to face Macy Chiasson. Fight never happened. Chiasson withdrew. She was supposed to fight Carajosa. Hosa was hospitalized due to her weight cut, so that fight never happened either. So then you book the fight with her and Avila. She wins. Then she loses to Kellen Vieira, loses to Penny Kianzad. She's supposed to fight Carajosa again. Rosa has to withdraw. She's supposed to fight Priscilla Cachoeira, who, I mean, why? I hope she gets cut, honestly. The rake to the eye of Jillian Robertson was just dirty as hell. She missed weight, too. Just cut Cachoeira. I'm done seeing the zombie girl in the UFC. So then they book her against Elise Reed. She beats Elise Reed. Cool. I mean, that's what's supposed to happen. Sijara Eubanks is a UFC caliber fighter. Is Elise Reed a UFC caliber fighter? Maybe she is, but that was her UFC debut, coming off from LFA, I do believe. I think that's where Elise Reed was last fighting before the UFC. Or no, it's Cage Fury. It was Cage Fury. Yep, never mind. But still, Sijara Eubanks did what she needed to do. Then they book her against Luana Carolina. That fight never happened because of COVID restrictions with Sijara Eubanks. So now they book her against Melissa Gatto. Fighter Melissa Gatto, who is 7-0-2. You got Eubanks sitting at 7-6. You know Eubanks, she can go in there, she can strike if she needs to. If she needs to grapple, she can do that too. If she needs to use her wrestling, she can do that too. You saw her land 2 takedowns against Penny Kianzad, landed 3 against Julia Avila when she won. She landed 2 on Sarah Morris, landed 1 on Elise Reed, and that's really all it took for her, because she landed 22 big strikes in that fight to Elise Reed's 1 in the significant category. And of course, Eubanks picked up the win in that one by ground and pound in the first. Again, for Gatto, her striking It was okay in the fight against Leonardo. Again, it's a fight against Victoria Leonardo, though. I really don't know what to expect. Still, I still have question marks against with Melissa Gatto here because I don't know how good truly Victoria Leonardo is. So we've talked about this before when Leonardo got in the UFC. She fought Chelsea Hackett on the contender. She fought Chelsea Hackett, a fighter I do believe from New Zealand or Australia. Chelsea Hackett's a good striker. She's like 22 years old. She can't wrestle like at all. And I don't know if she's fought since. I don't think she has. Yeah, Hackett has not fought since. She couldn't wrestle to save her life. Leonardo was getting pieced up on the feet, but as soon as that fight hit the mat, it was all Leonardo. That's how she got in the UFC. She hasn't looked very good since. I mean, her run in Invicta wasn't great. She lost to Miranda Maverick and Aaron Blanchfield, two fighters who just fought recently. And she lost to Maverick twice, and Aaron Blanchfield dominated Miranda Maverick in their fight just last weekend. But I still don't know how good Leonardo is. That means I still don't know how good Gatto is. Yeah, I'm taking Sijara Eubanks. Eubanks is the favorite. She's minus 210 compared to Gatto's plus 175. You look at the Tapology votes, a huge shock to me because you got 72% for Gatto, 20% for Eubanks. Yeah, give me Sijara Eubanks, a lot more proven. I know she's 7-6, but still, give me Sijara Eubanks. There's levels to this game. Sijara Eubanks by decision. More heavyweight action. We've got the bad man, Justin Tafa, taking on the Hurricane. It is going to be Harry Hunsucker. And for Justin Tafa, I have predicted this man to win by first round knockout multiple times in the UFC. I believe all four. One of them was right, but the other one, he got knocked out in the first round by Jourdain Castro. The other two, he lost to Carlos Felipe and lost to Jared Vanderaa. Now, he's had competitive fights in the UFC, though. So he's 1-3 in the promotion, but it's a competitive 1-3. I know the Jourdain Castro fight, we can throw that one aside. But recently, though, it's been fun fights out of Justin Tafa. He's won Fight of the Night, I believe, in his last two fights. I think he won Fight of the Night in the Felipe fight. I think. Oh, wait, he was on the same card as Max Holloway and Calvin Kattar. If he wasn't, that fight definitely would have been Fight of the Night. But still, he had a good fight against Felipe. He had a Fight of the Night performance against Jared Vanderaa, and they had the knockout over Juan Adams. He's taken on a guy in Harry Hunsucker, who Hunsucker is coming off the Contender Series where he lost to Jared Vanderaa in a fight where he got dominated by Vanderaa, and Vanderaa lands a takedown, ground and pounds Harry Hunsucker, and then he fights Corey Moon. He knocks him out in the first round, and they're like, yeah, okay, you want to fight Tai Tuivasa? And Tai Tuivasa, who just knocked out a good fighter in Guso Sakai, Tuivasa knocks out Hunsucker in 50 seconds. Okay, and here we are. So Harry Hunsucker is taking on Justin the Bad Man Tafa now. Tafa's got a lot of power. He's like Tai Tuivasa, but not as good? I don't know, because Justin Tafa leaves his chin up to be hit a lot. And Hunsucker will be able to land on Justin Tafa. I'm not doubting that at all, but I'm just thinking, okay, Justin Tafa's got a lot of power. Harry Hunsucker is there to be hit as well. That's really all you need to know. Like, yeah, Hunsucker's got some good grappling. He's got good submissions. We haven't seen it lately since he won, I believe, before the Contender fight against Vanderaa. It's just that when you compare Hunsucker's fights with Vanderaa and Tuivasa, those two are not competitive. I know he got knocked out like one of the first strikes that was thrown in the Tuivasa fight, but the Vanderaa fight, he got dominated for 4 minutes in that fight. You look at Justin Tafa's fights in the UFC, yeah, he got quick knocked out by Jourdain Castro, but you look at the Adams fight, he lands a knockout. He was in the knockdown for 30 minutes over the last year. This will be his third fight in the UFC this year, and he was just in there for 30 minutes against Felipe and Vanderaa, and he was competitive in those two fights, and those two fights were very good fights on the feet. I don't think that Hunsucker's gonna be able to really hang with Justin Tafa on the feet. I think this is where this fight's gonna be competitive at, or this is where this fight's gonna be contested at. So honestly, man, give me Justin the Bad Man Tafa to win this fight. I'm gonna say he's gonna get it done in the first round by KO. I feel pretty confident for the Bad Man here. Another first round KO finish for Tafa. I think he finally gets it done though. So now we've got the UFC debut of Victor Henry, and he's taking on a very good fighter here in Honey Barcelos. A fighter I don't think gets appreciated enough in the UFC in Barcelos. I mean, the fight is Timur Valiev. It's a close fight. He loses it by majority decision. You can make the case Barcelos wins that fight, definitely. And Barcelos knocks down Timur Valiev twice in that one. It's a competitive fight on the feet. I don't know how Barcelos didn't win that one, looking back at it. He had a very good second round. The third round was close. I think you can give it to Barcelos too, and maybe give the first one too. And it's just such a close fight. It really is. But the second round is a dominant round for Honey Barcelos against a good fighter in Timur Valiev. And other than that, Barcelos has been perfect in the UFC. His first fight in the UFC, beats Kurt Holloway by KO. He knocks him out in the third round. He beats Chris Gutierrez after that very naked choke. He gets a TKO win in his next fight. He beats Said Nurmagomedov by unanimous decision, and then he beats Khalid Taha by unanimous decision. The guy puts on really good fights. He can grapple, he can strike. His takedown defense in the UFC is 92% after Timur Valiev, who is a very good wrestler, went 0 for 6 on his takedowns against him. That's tough to do. fighting Timur Valiev, stuffing 6 takedowns out of him, and stuffing every single takedown that Timur Valiev does shoot. So that's tough to do. Victor Henry's got his work cut out for him in this fight. Now, what does Victor Henry do very well? He's fought in Rising before, he's fought in Pancrase, he's fought in a lot of different King of the Cage, a lot of different promotions in the past. What does he do very well? Well, a very well balanced fighter. Henry can strike, he can grapple, he can do it all. He's got some really very solid power for being a bantamweight, but the grappling is very good at Victor Henry as well. Probably his best chance to win this fight is through the grappling against Honey Barcelos, but the problem is, how does Victor Henry get this fight to the mat against Honey Barcelos? Right? Because Barcelos' grappling is very good. His takedown defense, 92% so far in the UFC. So when you break that down, you're thinking, okay, Victor Henry's probably gonna have to land a bomb on Honey Barcelos, or at least outstrike him for 15 minutes. That's very hard to do because I haven't seen anyone do that so far in the UFC. I know technically Valiev did, but come on, man, watch that fight. Valiev's in trouble throughout a lot of that fight. It was just in the third round, Barcelos really didn't pull the trigger enough. He should have went for it a lot more in the third round. I mean, hell, Valiev throws 84 strikes in that third round. Barcelos only throws 45. If he went for it in that third round, Barcelos definitely could have won. It was just a frustrating fight style in that third round for Barcelos, considering he had Valiev like dead to rights in the second round. But still, though, when you break this down, it's a tough fight for Henry. He's taking this one on somewhat short notice. I believe he took this one like a week ago, so it's 2-week camp for Victor Henry in this one. He just fought less than a month ago, or 2 months ago actually, against Albert Morales, winning the LXF Bantamweight Championship. He went all 5 rounds in that one, or sorry, no, it was a 5-round fight. He won in the second round by a naked choke. But still, I just don't see the pathway to victory for Henry in this one. I don't think he'll be able to take down Honey Barcelos, which is a problem. If you can't take him down, then you're gonna have to outstrike him. Well, I don't think anyone's ever done that so far, except for Valiev, who got very close to doing so as a competitive fight. Nonetheless, though, Honey Barcelos is gonna win this one. Do I think he'll get a finish? Yeah, I think he will. I think Honey Barcelos is gonna come in there. I think his striking's gonna look better than ever. Honey Barcelos, second round TKO finish. He'll be Victor Henry in Henry's UFC debut. So I get this fight was made because of late dropouts and whatnot. Meerschaert wasn't supposed to fight Stoltzfus. Stoltzfus was not supposed to fight Meerschaert. That's okay. I don't get the matchmaking at all in this one because, guys, look at the line on this fight. Minus 225 for Meerschaert. Hammer that. He's not losing this fight. I'll say it right now. He is not losing to Dustin Stoltzfus. I don't think he is. Because look at Dustin's first 2 fights in the UFC. He's fought 2 very good grapplers. Kyle Daukaus, Rodolfo Vieira. Now, Vieira's the black belt hunter, so a little bit different, but still. He's had 2 fights so far in the UFC. He's lost both of them, and what does his 2 opponents have in common? They're very good grapplers. Daukaus can grapple the best of them. Rodolfo Vieira, pure jiu-jitsu, might be the best guy in the UFC when he doesn't get tired, he doesn't get gassed. Well, in the Rodolfo Vieira Dustin Stoltzfus fight, it wasn't the Rodolfo Vieira who could only fight 1 round. No, Rodolfo Vieira finished him in the 3rd round. So he showed that, hey, he got cardio on that one, and Rodolfo Vieira won that fight late in the fight. And so what do they do now with Dustin Stoltzfus? Coming off the Contender Series, again, 2 very good grapplers. What do they do? Oh yeah, they give him a guy who's had how many pro MMA fights? How many pro MMA fights has Meerschaert had? Just take a guess. 47. And it's a guy who's coming off a win over Mahmoud Muradov, a fight that everyone counted Meerschaert out of, including myself. I thought Muradov was going to get rid of him in a round. He was a plus 440 underdog. Meerschaert goes in there. He subs him in the 2nd round. Meerschaert's a good fighter. He's not losing Dustin Stoltzfus. It's just not happening. He beat Bartosz Fabinski before that by a guillotine, gets that in the 1st round. The guy's a tremendous grappler. I know he had the hiccup against Khamzat Chimaev and Ian Heinisch too. Sure, is Dustin Stoltzfus going to go in there 1-punch knockout Meerschaert? I doubt it, because what is Dustin Stoltzfus supposed to... Dustin Stoltzfus coming to the UFC, tremendous wrestler. He can get the takedowns when he needs to. He can, grapple with some of the best, and he can get a submission. That's what we were sold on with Dustin Stoltzfus coming to the UFC. He gets his contract after winning. He wins by slam. I mean, it was an arm injury to his opponent. Sure, he wins the fight, but it's not the most impressive victory for Dustin Stoltzfus at all. And now he's dropped 2 fights. And now they give him a guy who's fought 47 pro fights, a guy in Meerschaert who's coming off 2 big wins and maybe his biggest win of his career is Mahmoud Muradov. I just don't see this one being competitive. Like, Meerschaert beats these types of guys. I know he lost to Khamzat Chimaev. I don't give a damn. Chimaev knocked him out in the 1st round, sure. He lost to Heinisch, sure. He subbed Jourdain, who's a very good wrestler. He lost to Eric Anders in a fight where you can make the case that Meerschaert even won that fight. Before that, I mean, he beats Trevin Giles. He takes him down in the 3rd round, submits him with a guillotine. It was just a wrestling fight the entire fight. He had the fight against Kevin Holland where he loses, but it's a close fight. He gets destroyed by Hermanson, is what I'm going to say about that one. He beats Oscar Piota. He beats Eric Spicely. Yeah, Meerschaert's not losing to Stoltzfus. It's not happening. It's not happening. this is how this fight's gonna go. First round takedown, Meerschaert. Second round takedown, okay, finish. It's gonna be a submission finish for Meerschaert. He's gonna get done in the second round. I feel very good about this one. If you want a lock of the night, this is effing it, bro. This is the lock of the night. Meerschaert is gonna beat Justin Stoltzfus. Don't put the lock on the submission, but I think he gets it done too that way. Yeah, second round sub, Meerschaert all day. Two veterans of the sport going at it here in a certified banger. It's going to be the damaged Darren Elkins versus the killer in Cub Swanson. Cub's back after that loss to Giga Chikadze. It's not like, I picked Cub Swanson to beat Giga Chikadze or anything, right? And I would never do that. Oh, I did. Okay, that was at the time where I was not impressed with Giga Chikadze at all. Now I am. After the Cub Swanson fight, I said going in that fight, if Giga Chikadze beats Cub Swanson, I'm not picking against this guy for a very long time. And what did he do? He beat Cub Swanson. Okay, I picked him to be Edson Barbosa. What happened? He won. Calvin Kattar, you'll have to come back in a couple of weeks to see that Calvin Kattar and Giga Chikadze prediction, but just saying, man, I'm excited for that fight when we come back from break in 2022. But Swanson loses that fight. There's no shame in that, though. I mean, Giga Chikadze, that man's a monster. His striking's very good. He gets kicked in the liver. He loses the fight. It's going to happen to you, man. It's going to happen to you. Cub Swanson's a legend. Same can be said about Darren Elkins. Now, Elkins is coming off a 2-fight winning streak, though. And given it's Eduardo Garagorri and Derek Minner, okay, and Derek Minner just lost to Ryan Hall, where he just got out-grappled in that one, but Elkins looks good in the Minner fight. Minner lands a couple takedowns, but still Elkins gets that fight back to his feet, finishes beats Minner in the second round. Before that, he beats Eduardo Garagorri in a fight where Darren Elkins lands 7 takedowns. Yeah, you heard that one, right? Darren Elkins, 7 for 21 in his takedown attempts, and he wins that one by rear naked choke in the third round. The Nate Landwehr fight's a banger of a fight. I mean, it's like every Darren Elkins fight. Like, Darren Elkins goes in there, his scar tissue is gone in his face, so he's gonna bleed no matter what happens. Just like one punch to Darren Elkins, he's gonna start bleeding. It doesn't mean that he's hurt, it's just that's just how he is. But you look at the fight against Nate Landwehr, it's just an absolute banger. Those two guys were just trading the entire fight. Elkins doesn't get the better of that fight, though. He loses by decision. Before that, he loses to Ryan Hall in a fight where Ryan Hall knocks him down twice. He lands that spinning back kick that sometimes they'll throw, and Ryan Hall wins. Cool. Before that, he lost to Ricardo Lamas, does Elkins. Loses to Alexander Volkanovski, who's now the champion before that. And before that, he beats Michael Johnson and Dennis Bermudez and Meerschaert Bektic. That's going all the way back to 2017 and early 2018, respectfully. Yeah, for Cub Swanson, he's got the win over Daniel Pineda when he came back. He tore his ACL doing, I believe, a grappling tournament. And then before that, he beat Kron Gracie in a fight that we haven't seen Kron Gracie since, because Gracie was in that co-main event, of course, against Cub Swanson on the Joanna Waterson card. I'm really excited for Kron Gracie. He hasn't come back, even though he beat Alex Caceres, who's now in the rankings, by the way. Nonetheless, though, Cub Swanson goes in there. He beats Kron Gracie by unanimous decision. It was a fight where he couldn't get rid of Kron Gracie. Kron Gracie kept walking forward like a damn zombie. It was a very fun fight. That fight didn't hit the mat either. It was just weird, but we saw Kron Gracie striking in that one. We saw that Swanson can still go with some of the best, and I was really looking forward to when Kron Gracie was going to fight again. He hasn't, and I don't know if we're going to see Kron Gracie ever again in UFC. It's a shame. But before that, for Swanson, I mean, this guy doesn't get any easy fights. Before the Gracie fight, he had that banger of a fight against Shane Burgos. I mean, Swanson lands 129 strikes, Burgos lands 134. Burgos wins by unanimous, or by split decision, excuse me. He loses to Neto Moicano before that, when Moicano took him down, subbed him, took his back, and finished him. Before that, he lost to Frank Yeager in that unanimous decision loss. He lost to Brian Ortega, where he got standing guillotined in that fight in Fresno. It's the fight that Swanson was winning before he got standing guillotined, of course, by Ortega. It was the fight where Ortega latches onto the guillotine. He wraps his legs around Swanson, still standing, and he wins the fight. Crazy main event finish. And before that, for Swanson, in a main event, his second main event in the UFC, or his first of two, he beats the GOAT, Artem Lobov, by unanimous decision. That was coming off the win over Doo Ho Choi, one of the best fights you are ever going to see, UFC 206, Holloway, and Pettis. But now you go back to Elkins versus Swanson. Okay. Do I think Darren Elkins is going to be a wrestling-heavy approach in this fight against Cub Swanson? I think we will, considering Cub Swanson's still got very good striking. His takedown defense, though, is pretty good, too, so I don't know if we're going to see Elkins be able to land and execute that, those techniques against Swanson, but if he doesn't, you're just going to get a banger of a fight. You're just going to get a fire fight here between Elkins and Swanson. These two guys don't give a damn. I mean, someone's probably going to go down eventually, but again, if Elkins doesn't land the takedown, and if Elkins, doesn't go for those 21 takedowns like he did against Eduardo Garagorri, you're just going to see an absolute scrap of a fight, two veterans of the sport trading on the feet, and if that happens, yeah, Cub Swanson's going to win. Elkins, yeah, okay, you can still go with them, but Darren Elkins has 35 pro fights, and I'm sure, yeah, Swanson's had a lot too, and he's 38 years old. Swanson's at 39, so that doesn't matter, but still, just the accumulation of damage that Darren Elkins has taken in the UFC is pretty insane, and I get it, his nickname is The Damage, but you just compare the damage that Elkins has taken compared to Swanson, it's just not the same, and I think Cub Swanson still at this point of his career is better than what Darren Elkins is at currently in this point of his career as well. Yeah, I think Cub Swanson, though, is going to be Darren Elkins. I think you're going to see a crazy fight on the feet. I think someone's going to get knocked out, and I think it's going to be Darren Elkins. I'm going Cub Swanson to finish Darren Elkins. I think we'll get it done late in the second round. TKO finish here for Cub. Absolutely love this fight at 155 pounds. It's Mateus Gamrot taking on Carlos Diego Ferreira, and it was the step up in competition that we knew that we needed out of Mateus Gamrot. And yes, no disrespect to his first 3 opponents in the UFC. And the first fight's to Guram Kutateladze, who we haven't seen Kutateladze since. Now, okay, they gave the decision to Guram Kutateladze. Let me just crunch the numbers for you very quickly. Kutateladze lands a flash knockdown on Mateus Gamrot. Gamrot gets back up pretty quickly, but look at the striking numbers. Mateus Gamrot, 69 total strikes in that fight, 52 significant. For Guram Kutateladze, 37 significant, 43 total. Mateus Gamrot's got 3 minutes of control, 3 minutes and a half of control in that fight, and 5 of 16 of his takedowns, and he somehow loses the fight. Just go watch the fight. It's a good fight, don't get me wrong. Kutateladze holds his own, and I think Kutateladze is going to be a very good fighter in his own right. He hasn't fought since, but still, I think he's going to be a good fighter. Mateus Gamrot wins that fight. No questions asked, but still, Gamrot comes back. He beats Scott Hot Sauce Holtzman in the second round. He knocks him out on the Vittori Holland card back in the Apex, and then most recently, he submits Jeremy Stephens by a Kimura a minute into their fight in July of this year. It's by far Gamrot's biggest win to date, and I know he won the KSW championship before heading into the UFC, but still, that was a huge win for Mateus Gamrot, even though he was the double champ over there in KSW as well. That guy is a monster, though. So before all of this, though, you gotta look at Carlos Diego Ferreira, a fighter who is very good in his own right. He's 17-4, and I know he's coming off a 2-fight losing streak, but still, you look at the names that he's fought recently. He picks up the win over Anthony Pettis on UFC 246. So the fight to me was really like, okay, Carlos Diego Ferreira is a monster. This guy's worthy of being in the top 15. This guy's gonna be around for a while when he goes in there in the second round and just submits Showtime on a Conor McGregor card. It's a huge win for Carlos Diego Ferreira. And then after that, he goes into a fight with Beneil Dariush, where how that fight was a split decision, I don't know. Dariush wins 2 rounds in that one pretty easily, I think, but I mean, hell, Dariush had over 7 minutes of control. He outstrikes Carlos Diego Ferreira as well, and somehow, I believe it was Chris Lee had it for Ferreira. Don't ask why, but still, Dariush is a guy who's in the top 4 of the weight class, who's fighting Islam Makhachev for a #1 contenders fight next year, and according to one judge, Carlos Diego Ferreira beat him. Whatever. The Gregor Gillespie fight, though, Gillespie showing his wrestling in that one, lands 4 takedowns, over 5 minutes of control. He eventually finishes Carlos Diego Ferreira by TKO late in the second round. It was the cardio and the stamina just ran out for Carlos Diego Ferreira in that fight. He ran out of gas in that second round. Gregor Gillespie just really, even after taking a lot of damage early in the fight, De Gillespie, he regroups and he comes back and he beats Carlos Diego Ferreira in the second round. So now Ferreira on a 2-fight losing streak, taking on Mateus Gamrot, and Gamrot has been on fire recently. But for Carlos Diego Ferreira, still though, tremendous grappling out of him, really good jiu-jitsu. His striking is solid as well, but you look at Mateus Gamrot, more of the same. Gamrot, he's never been taken down so far in the UFC. His striking is very good, and his wrestling's look good in every single fight too. He's gotten a takedown every single fight so far in the UFC. 5 against Kutateladze, 2 against Holtzman, and 1 against Jeremy Stephens, and it only took 1 against Stephens because he landed that Kimura in the first round and put him away. I think Gamrot's very good, man. I truly think so. I think his striking's very good, his grappling's very good. He's just a well-rounded fighter who can get the job done in any way. And he's taken on a guy in Diego Ferreira who can really do the same too, but still, I just don't think Diego Ferreira is at the level that Gamrot is on the feet. On the ground, I think it's competitive because I really think Ferreira's grappling is good. It's just a matter of if he does get taken down, can he get back up or can he work from being on bottom? Unlike the Beneil Dariush fight where Dariush took him down and kept him on bottom and really Diego Ferreira couldn't do anything with it. So if Gamrot can take him down, it's just a matter of can Gamrot control him on the ground. But I don't think we're going to get that because if Gamrot doesn't shoot for the takedown, I don't think Carlos Diego Ferreira is going to do the same because Diego Ferreira is not the best at shooting takedowns. Mateus Gamrot is very good at stuffing takedowns, so that just doesn't result in a good result for Diego Ferreira. So if that doesn't happen, you're seeing a striking fight with Mateus Gamrot and Carlos Diego Ferreira. You know who wins that one 10 times out of 10? Okay, maybe 9 times out of 10, but still, Mateus Gamrot's going to outstrike Carlos Diego Ferreira. If this fight heads in the mat too, I like the control of Mateus Gamrot. I don't think he's going to get himself into trouble against Carlos Diego Ferreira if that happens. I like Mateusz Gamrot all day in this one. I picked him in all 3 fights so far in the UFC. I was very impressed out of him coming out of KSW. I think we're going to see a lot more success from Mateusz Gamrot in this fight. I think he's going to beat Carlos Diego Ferreira. I think he's going to get a finish in this one. I think he will knock out Carlos Diego Ferreira. I'll say TKO finish, just like Gregor Gillespie did, maybe in a different fashion, but still, same end result. I like the gamer, Mateusz Gamrot, the former KSW double champ, to TKO Carlos Diego Ferreira. He'll get it done in the second round. So it is the return of Rafael Assuncao. He's back for the first time since getting sent to, I guess, the Shadow Realm by Sean O'Malley. He's taken on a very good fighter in Ricky Simón. Simón has been on a roll recently. 3 straight wins after losing to a very good fighter in Rob Font. He had back-to-back losses to Uriah Faber and Rob Font, but I mean, Faber was the fight in Sacramento where Simón, he was coming in that fight, he was the prospect. He was undefeated in the UFC up until that point, coming off the win over Hani Yahya. You're thinking that Simón's probably going to beat Uriah Faber, but it was in Sacramento and it was a co-main event. It was below Jourdain, Durandamy, and Aspen Ladd on the card, but whatever. Uriah Faber, one of the first power shots that he threw in the entire fight. Big overhand right, puts down Ricky Simón, and he finishes him on the ground. Tough for Ricky Simón because then he's now got to go regroup. He fights Font. He loses by unanimous decision. It's a good fight, but Ricky Simón just can't get going on the feet against Rob Font. Yes, he uses wrestling like Ricky Simón will a lot. He went 6 for 16 on his takedowns in that fight, but couldn't get the decision. Then after that, he beats Ray Borg by split decision. It was a fight where Simón landed 7 takedowns. He went 7 for 11 on those takedown attempts. 5 minutes and 30 seconds of control in that one for him. He outstruck Ray Borg as well. Good performance for Ricky Simón. Won it 2 rounds to 1. Then he beat Gaetano Perello after that. Gaetano Perello was making his UFC debut. It was a fight where Simón was supposed to win. He went in there and he destroyed him in the second round and he subbed him by arm triangle. And then most recently, he had just a dominant performance on a pay-per-view main card against Brian Kelleher. That fight wasn't competitive. I mean, it was all Ricky Simón. 6 takedowns in that fight, 8 minutes of control, dominant outing in that fight for Ricky Simón. And he's taking on Rafael Assuncao, who Assuncao, I feel like for the longest time, his claim to fame was that he had the win over TJ Dillashaw, beat him by split decision. And then he got the rematch against Dillashaw, UFC 200. The winner was most likely fighting probably the winner of Cody Garbrandt and Dominic Cruz, even though, of course, Garbrandt won, Dillashaw won, so they ended up fighting anyway. But that was Assuncao, I think, his big, claim to fame at the time. He beat Dillashaw the first time, he loses the second time, and then he regroups, he picks up 3 good wins. Aljamain Sterling, he beats by split decision. Now, it's before Sterling was the champion and all of that, but still, he beats Aljamain Sterling by split decision, he beats Marlon Moraes by split decision, then he knocks out Matthew Lopez, and then he goes and beats Rob Font by unanimous decision at UFC 226, and you're thinking, all right, Assuncao, he's a fight away for the belt, so he gets a number 1 contenders fight against Marlon Moraes, and he gets subbed in the first round in Fortaleza. He regroups, takes on Corey Sandhagen, he loses. Then he gets sent to the Shadow Realm when he gets knocked out by Cody Garbrandt. I don't know, man. Assuncao's old. He's very old. He's 39 years old. Now taking this fight over a year off against Ricky Simón. Now, you know what Simón always does well? He's a very good wrestler. He knows how to get fights to the ground. That could be interesting in this fight because Assuncao 80% takedown defense so far in the UFC. Simón, though, again, his wrestling is great. 54 takedown accuracy so far. 54% takedown accuracy for Simón. It's basically, do you think Ricky Simón can get this fight on the ground? And if he can't, do you think he can hang with Assuncao on the feet? In both scenarios, yeah, I think he can. I think Simón, if he has to, can outstrike Rafael Assuncao. I think it'll be close, definitely, but I do trust somewhat the striking of Ricky Simón against Assuncao. Just a 39-year-old Rafael Assuncao is at the end of his career, who is past his prime, compared to Simón, who, again, can incorporate the takedowns. And we say it all the time, your takedowns make your striking better. I think that's what's going to help Ricky Simón win this fight. So I really like Simón to beat Assuncao in this one. He might even get a finish. I mean, you look at Simón's last couple fights. Again, he had the decision against Kelleher, the split decision against Ray Borg, the decision win over Yahya, over Montel Jackson. He subbed Merab Dvalishvili. That was a controversial fight, but still, I think Simón's going to win this one. I think we get it done by decision. I think we'll win every single round in this fight. I think Ricky Simón picks up probably his biggest win to date in the UFC. I'll be honest with you. I mean, if you thought Gerald Meerschaert was a lock, this one, I mean, Amanda Lemos is going to beat Angela Hill. I don't see how Hill wins this fight. Amanda Lemos has looked very good recently. Again, she lost her first fight in the UFC. It was against Leslie Smith. Don't want to talk about it. That fight was at 135. She takes two years off. She comes back. She dominates Miranda Granger. She shows that, all right, she can go in there, she can get takedowns, and she can finish fights on the ground. That was all well and good in Busan, South Korea. After that, she beats Mizuki Inoue. She beats her by unanimous decision on the Munoz and Edgar card in the Apex. Then she beats Lavinia Souza. It's a fight where Souza's not even competitive. Lemos knocks her down 2 times in the first round and finishes her in that first round. And then her last fight, she knocks out Montserrat Quinyejo in the first round, 35 seconds seconds in. Lemos has got power that isn't really seen at 115. Her takedown accuracy is 100% so far in the UFC. Her takedown defense is 100% so far in the UFC. She's just good everywhere. I mean, Lemos is truly a problem at this weight class. Again, she's 34 years old at the end sort of her career, but ever since she's gone down to strawweight, she's been unstoppable. Now, Angela Hill, she's traded wins and losses in the UFC. She's 13-10. I thought she was going to beat Tecia Torres. She didn't, though. Tecia Torres looked very good. Angela Hill, I mean, she shot 7 takedowns in that fight, only landed 2, and Tecia Torres just outstruck her throughout that entire fight. I've picked against Angela Hill a lot. I think I picked Claudia Gadelha to beat her. I picked Michelle Waterson definitely to beat her. I picked her to beat Ashley Yoder because everyone in their right mind, anyone in their right mind knew that Angela Hill was going to beat Ashley Yoder. But I mean, other than that, though, like, where does Angela Hill win this fight? Because she's not going to be able to take Lemos down. But I think Lemos can take Angela Hill down. But on the feet, I think Lemos is so much better than Angela Hill anyway. I mean, there's a reason Lemos is a minus 410 favorite in this fight against Angela Hill. It's because a lot of people don't see this fight being all that competitive. Lemos, 4-1 in the UFC. Angela Hill, say what you want about her. Yeah, she's on, probably the best run so far of her career with big wins over, well, some people thought she beat Gadelha. I think she did, but I mean, I thought she beat Gadelha, but I don't think she beat Waterson. She beat Yoder. But other than that, I mean, like, again, Angela Hill, she'll get to the top, or she'll get to like the top 15, and then she'll lose the fighters that are ahead of her in the weight class, or somewhat on her level. And she'll beat the fighters that are in the top 15. Ariane Carlosi, Cyphers, Loma Lukboni, Jody Escobar, Ashley Yoder, Marina Moroz. But then she loses to the fighters that are higher in the rankings. And yes, she lost to Courtney Casey, Brandon Marcos, but I'm talking about Yaon Jourdain, I'm talking about Claudia Gadelha, I'm talking about Michelle Waterson, I'm talking about Tecia Torres. So Lemos is in that level where she's better than Angela Hill. She'll outstrike her. If she has to, she can outgrapple her too. I think it's going to be all Amanda Lemos. Angela Hill is tough though. I've seen her go in there. I've seen her exchange with Jessica Andrade, her return fight to the UFC in her second stint. So I've seen her take bombs from some of the best power strikers in the division, so I don't think she's going to get a finish in this one. Does Lemos, but I think it's going to be a pretty dominant performance. I think she'll win the first 2 rounds and then, kind of coast in the third, but I think it's going to be all Amanda Lemos in this one. I think she'll win the first 2, and we're going to Amanda Lemos to beat Angela Hill by decision. So now we've got Stephen Wonderboy Thompson and Belal, remember the name Muhammad, in the co-main event of the evening. It's such a big opportunity for Belal Muhammad. Yeah, he had the fight with Leon Edwards, the weird fight where he got poked in the eye in the second round. It was the classic Leon Edwards, I believe I deserve a title shot next. Okay, cool. Leon Edwards is beating Belal Muhammad up until that point, but you still don't know what was going to happen. Okay, that's all fine and well, but the thing is, Belal Muhammad's taken on maybe the best striker in the weight class right now, like pure technical striker is Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. He doesn't have the power that some of these guys have at 170, but still, he knocked down Gilbert Burns in their fight. And I was watching Stephen Thompson talk to Ariel Helwani just a couple minutes ago, and what Wonderboy said in that fight, that he was concerned about that takedown the entire time. He was just scared that Gilbert was going to go take him down, like what happened to Poirier in the Oliveira fight, that Thompson was going to get taken down by Burns was going to take his back, and he was going to finish him. He's saying that he's not scared of the Belal Muhammad wrestling game. He's not concerned about what Belal Muhammad's going to bring to this fight. And I'll be honest with you, I'm not either. I'm not concerned of what the hell Belal Muhammad's going to do to Stephen Wonderboy Thompson in this one, because I don't think he's going to take him down. Like, we know that Belal Muhammad's wrestling is so good. Like, yeah, okay, he can grapple. His striking is not very good, but, if he needs to get the takedown, he can work in the clinch and he can achieve that. Okay, cool. He didn't take down Maia. And now, do you want to take down Damian Maia? Probably not. That fight was terrible. Don't go watch it. He couldn't take down Leon Edwards. Given in that fight, I don't think he attempted to take down. The Diego Lima fight, he landed a takedown. But I mean, it's just, I know in the last fight with Burns and Thompson, maybe I overrated how good of a wrestler Stephen Thompson is, but he's a good enough wrestler to the point where Belal Muhammad is not taking him down. And you know for damn straight that Belal Muhammad is not going to give Wonderboy a single problem on the feet. Because Wonderboy, like the way you beat Wonderboy is basically the Gilbert Burns game plan. You gotta take him down, and when you're on the feet, you just gotta be good enough to the point where you can land some power shots, close the distance, take him down, and rinse and repeat. Because you saw when Wonderboy had time on the feet against Gilbert Burns, he landed that spinning back kick, he wobbled Burns, and that's how he won the second round. So Wonderboy's always gonna have the potential to end the fight. He doesn't have that one punch power like Usman does, or even Gilbert Burns does. He's gotta set it up with using his feints and eventually setting up a kick and finishing the fight. And that's how Wonderboy can finish Belal Muhammad. Do I think he'll finish Belal Muhammad? No, he's not, but he's gonna beat him. And I'm surprised in the YouTube community poll that so many people think that Belal Muhammad is going to win this fight, because the odds don't reflect that. The Tapology votes don't reflect that. I don't know. Apparently, you guys think that Belal Muhammad's got a chance in this one. I don't think he does. I just think Wonderboy's better in every single. Okay, the only part of the fight Belal Muhammad's better than him at is on the ground. It's purely on the ground. But how does Belal Muhammad get Stephen Thompson down? Right? I don't think he'll be able to take Wonderboy down. again, I know I might have overrated the ground game, the takedown defense of Wonderboy in his last fight with Gilbert Burns. Sure, he got taken down 3 times by Burns, but Burns is a top 3 fighter in this weight class because it goes Kamaru Usman, Colby Covington, and then probably Gilbert Burns, maybe Leon Edwards. Like, Burns is at the top of this weight class. Wonderboy, I would say, is like somewhere in the top 5. And if we're being honest with ourselves, if Wonderboy beats Bilal Muhammad and then say gets a rematch with Vicente Luque and wins, he's probably next to the belt, considering everyone that Usman's fought, assuming that Usman goes out and beats Leon Edwards. So Wonderboy's still in that spot. I know he lost to Burns, but Burns already lost to Usman, and it's getting to a point where Usman's beating all the guys in the weight class, and if someone can't beat him, Khamzat Chimaev, then you're gonna have to start going to Thompson. You're gonna have to go like Vicente Luque. Hell, even Jeff Neal just picked up a win. Neil Magny, I know Chimaev coming up, and all those guys. But in this fight, it's gonna be all Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. I don't think Bilal Muhammad's gonna be able to land a takedown. If he can't land a takedown, he is screwed on the feet. Wonderboy uses his kicks effectively. He uses his reach effectively, and I think this is just gonna be a whole lot of hell for Bilal Muhammad in this fight. If he can't land a takedown, he's screwed, and I don't think he'll be able to keep Wonderboy down even if he does land that takedown. I think it's going to be the technical striking out of Wonderboy that's going to do it for him. He's a minus 225 favorite for a reason in this fight. You got Muhammad coming back at plus 205. Wonderboy 11-5-1 so far in the UFC. Muhammad at 10-3. But think about the guys that Wonderboy's lost to so far in the UFC. It's Gilbert Burns, top guy. Pettis landed a lucky-ass shot, bounced off the cage, Superman punch, knocked him out. But the thing is, Anthony Pettis has that one-punch power. Bilal Muhammad doesn't have that. Darren Till was fighting maybe his best fight of all time, and still I think Wonderboy won that one. He had the Woodley fights where he probably won both of those. Probably won the second one. The first one I think was a draw. And then he had the Matt Brown fight where that was Wonderboy's 7th ever pro fight. Matt Brown just out-wrestled him throughout that entire fight. Bilal Muhammad's not going to do that. Wonderboy knows what's coming. He's going to fight his own game in this one. He's not concerned about what Bilal Muhammad brings to the table, and it's going to be all Stephen Wonderboy Thompson. He's going to beat Bilal Muhammad. I think he might even get a 10-8 in the 3rd round. It's going to be all Wonderboy in this one. He's going to win this one 30-26. Unanimous decision victory here for Wonderboy. Main event time. It is the Black Beast, Derek Lewis, and Chris Daukaus. Daukaus finally getting that shot, and it's only been 4 fights. It's been a historic rise for Chris Daukaus, entering the elite of the weight class. And I really don't feel like there's much to talk about with these guys' previous fights. And I understand this is like a pure toss-up fight. I mean, this could go either way because I just don't think, okay, Lewis's fight with Ciryl Gane. That's gonna happen to a lot of guys in this weight class. Ciryl Gane's gonna do that to almost everyone in this weight class. I think he'll probably do it to Francis Ngannou. We'll get to that fight in a month, but that's how good Gane is. And I don't know if anyone beats Ciryl Gane in this weight class, and that's including Francis Ngannou, that's including John Jones, and that's including Stipe Miocic. It's a hard fight to fight against to fight Ciryl Gane. And I know Lewis just didn't look good in that fight. I mean, what? He got struck 98-16 in that one. He just didn't have the opportunity. And maybe did I pick Derek Lewis to win this fight? Okay, maybe I did. Thought he was gonna land a bomb. Whatever. But the thing I bring to you with Derek Lewis is Derek Lewis can beat everyone in the top 15, and I think he can lose everyone in the top 15. It's that simple. Look at the Curtis Blades fight. Blades is kind of doing what Gane's doing now. He wasn't kicking as much as Gane was, but Blades is outstriking Lewis. He's staying out of danger, and he's just outstriking the Black Beast until he shoots for a takedown. And when he really didn't need to, Lewis just winds up with the uppercut and knocks him out. Right? I mean, Daukaus isn't going to be that guy where he's going to go in there, he's going to shoot for a bunch of takedowns and try to, just take Lewis down and keep him down the entire fight. That's not how Daukaus, I don't think, is going to win this one. It's just not the way he fights. He hasn't landed a takedown so far in the UFC. He's just not a grappler. He's going to try to do to Derek Lewis what he did to Shamil Durakhimov and Alexei Oleinik, because Daukaus has got a lot of power. But Derek Lewis still has the most power in this weight class other than Francis Ngannou, and I believe that. The thing is, if Daukaus can just replicate what Ciryl Gane did, which is tough to do, or even what Curtis Blades was doing before he got knocked out, I think he can probably beat Derek Lewis. And this is coming from a guy, again, who picked Derek Lewis to beat Blades, to beat Ciryl Gane. I'm a big Derek Lewis guy. You know what? If he beat Ciryl Gane, if he got lucky and knocked him out, I was probably going to pick him to beat Francis Ngannou too. But Chris Daukaus is so good. I mean, the Shamil Durakhimov fight, that wasn't even that much of a competition, and it showed that, okay, yeah, Daukaus was landing a lot on him, but still, Durakhimov hit him, and Shamil, gave Daukaus some of his best shots, and Chris Daukaus ate it and kept going and knocked him out. I mean, again, Derek Lewis, the power doesn't even compare to Shamil Durakhimov at all. But you're just going to see a striking fight in this one. I think both these guys are very good on the feet. On the ground, you don't even want to talk about it because both these guys don't go to the ground. Daukaus is a perfect 4-0 so far in the UFC. He comes in, he beats Parker Porter, and he hits him with a really nice knee and finishes him on the ground. He beats Rodrigo Nascimento. Nascimento, again, one of these fighters who's trying to get the fight on the mat. Daukaus knocked him out in 45 seconds. He just unloads on Alexei Oleinik, just delivers a flurry of punches. He just blitzes him, gets Oleinik back against the fence, and Herb Dean is kind of looking at the fight. Hey, do you want to keep fighting or not? No. Chris Daukaus eventually finished Alexei Oleinik, and the Shamil Durakhimov Durakhimov fight was all Chris Daukaus as well. It goes in the second round, he gets the finish. For Derek Lewis, again, I just don't think his past fights don't mean anything. Because it's not like Derek Lewis, oh, in this fight he showed that he can, he's got a spinning wheel kick, which sometimes he will throw, and he will throw that head kick like he did in the Gane fight. There's just not much we can learn about the Ciryl Gane fight, because I just think it was the same Derek Lewis that we saw in the Curtis Blaydes fight, the Alexei Oleinik fight, more of the same. I mean, it's just really, it's been the same Derek Lewis since he beat Latifi. That's not a bad thing, because what Derek Lewis does, it works. He knocks guys out and he puts them down on the mat, and they're out cold for a very long time. Derek Lewis knows what he does very well. The problem is, can he do that again against Chris Daukaus? And Daukaus, is going to be watching every single Derek Lewis fight that's out there. And can he execute on the game plan that Curtis Blaydes was doing before he got knocked out, and what Ciryl Gane was doing before he got finished too, or what Ciryl Gane did before he finished Derek Lewis too? The thing with this fight though, with Derek Lewis, there's no takedown to worry about with Chris Daukaus. There was with Curtis Blaydes 100%. That was entirely what Blaydes' game plan is to take you down, to ragdoll you, kind of like what he did. I mean, so many opponents like Volkov, and he did some to Jourdain Rosenstruck as well. But there is somewhat of a takedown. I always bring it up when Ciryl Gane fights. There is still always a takedown problem with Ciryl Gane, because he's got it in his back pocket because of the Dontel Mays fight, because he locked in that heel hook, and the ground game for Ciryl Gane, he's got it, he just doesn't always use it. There is nothing to be concerned about with the ground game of Chris Daukaus. It's just not how Daukaus fights. He's not like his brother Kyle, who's trying to go in there, trying to take your back and submit you like he did to Kevin Holland before that fight got overturned. That's just not how Chris Daukaus fights. So you're just gonna see two guys standing there. You're gonna see two guys trade. Derek Lewis isn't gonna come out there and he's not gonna show a lot of volume, because that's just not how he is. He's not a power. He's just a power puncher. He hasn't got any volume. Unlike Chris Daukaus, who's gonna come in there, and Daukaus maybe more relaxed, but he's still got the power, and he's got the ability to finish Derek Lewis 110%. Someone's getting knocked out though. I can guarantee you that. It's not gonna be like in Ghana with Lewis for this fight. They're both two counterpunchers. Daukaus is not the counterpuncher that Derek Lewis is. Derek Lewis is gonna be waiting for Chris Daukaus to open something up. Lewis is gonna try to catch him with the right and try to put him out. It's such a tough fight to call. This is the biggest toss-up on the entire card. It's the main event. There's a reason, of course, that Derek Lewis is a plus 120, Daukaus is a minus 140. It's just, some people might be down Lewis, and I get it. I get why people are down Lewis because of the loss of Ciryl Gane. He just couldn't get going in that fight at all. And for Chris Daukaus, again, he's been undefeated so far in the UFC, and he's looked very good in the fight. And his first ranked opponent against Shamila Durakhimov. And Durakhimov is a good fighter. He's probably going to lose to Tom Aspinall in England in March, but still, this is a great fight, guys. This is an amazing fight. My official prediction, though, going Chris Daukaus. Yeah, and this again, same guy who picked Derek Lewis to beat Ciryl Gane. Yeah. But I just think Chris Daukaus is that good. And I picked Chris Daukaus to lose to Alexei Oleinik. Yeah. My reasoning for that was, okay, I haven't seen Chris Daukaus, be tested on the ground like Alexei Oleinik's gonna test him. Well, Oleinik couldn't get the fight to the ground. And it's not like Derek Lewis is gonna be shooting power doubles and gonna try to get him in a scarf hold. It's not gonna happen. Lewis is gonna try to knock him out, but the thing is, if Lewis can't get his offense going and Daukaus works the body, digs the body, and then eventually works the head, I don't know if Derek Lewis can beat him. And again, I always bring this up though. This is why I hate picking against Lewis, is because Chris Daukaus, if he doesn't knock him out, Chris Daukaus could be winning this fight for 24 minutes. Derek Lewis could do like the Volkov fight, unload a big right, knock him the hell out, and that could be the fight and Derek Lewis can win. It's just, you just don't know. Never count out Derek Lewis in a fight. You never can. He's always got that one punch power. It's such a weird time picking against Derek Lewis, and it's just such a weird time. It's so weird picking a Derek Lewis fight just because how good he is and just how much power he does have. But still, I'm going with Chris Daukaus to win this fight. I think he's gonna finish Derek Lewis. I think it'll be somewhat similar to the fight with Ciryl Gane. I don't think he's gonna be like that impressive, like to the point that Gane was working the body and using his volume and all that. But still, I think he'll win. I'm going Chris Daukaus to beat Derek Lewis. I think he gets it done by second round TKO. Yeah, I think he gets it done pretty early. I think I don't know if Lewis is going to be able to get going. And I might be down Lewis a little bit because of the Gane fight, but still, I think Chris Daukaus is that guy. I think he's going to beat Derek Lewis. I think he gets his biggest win, obviously, to date over a former title challenger in Lewis, a two-time title challenger. It's going to get Daukaus all the way to number 3 in the rankings, and he called for this fight earlier, and I think it's got to be next. Firefighter versus police officer, Chris Daukaus versus Stipe Miocic. I think that's got to be next. I think, okay, more likely they'd probably do Daukaus and Blaydes next because it's a new matchup for Blaydes, and I think Stipe is still waiting in the wings for that title shot because if John Jones isn't ready for the winner of Ngannou and Gane, it's going to be Stipe. So I doubt we're going to get the Stipe fight. Personally, I would like to see it, but if we're being real with ourselves, it'll most likely be Daukaus versus Blaydes. If Lewis wins, who knows what they do? They'll probably just try to get him a new fight. So honestly, they're probably going to give him Jourdain Rosenstruck no matter what happens. If he wins or if he loses, Lewis's next fight's probably Biggie Boy. So there you go. I just matched up the weight class right now. If Daukaus loses, how Give me him and Marcin Tybura, I guess. But I mean, there's just the heavyweight weight class is weird. You got like 10 really good guys, and there's like everyone else. So there is our predictions here for UFC Fight Night. Lewis versus Daukaus, the final one of the year. I'll see you guys next year. We're starting with Calvin Kattar and Giga Chikadze in January. So again, that'll do it for our UFC preview and predictions. If you are new to the channel, make sure that subscribe button down below. And if you only watch the UFC videos, well, hey, go check out some of our other videos here on the channel. If you're interested in college football, we got Tennessee Volunteers Dynasty Mode going on, doing the New York Football Giants 2 on Madden, playing a franchise with them. And also, I think I'm gonna do some predictions on every single college football bowl game this season. I think there's like 43. That's a lot, but I'll be breaking every one of those down. Probably do a very long video for all of those later this week. So be on the lookout for that, folks. Thank you for watching. Make sure that subscribe button down with more. And Mamba forever.